Good afternoon, dear distinguished guests. I'm very grateful for being in this International ITU TESOL conference. My name is Fatima Rafikova. I am from Kimyo International University in Tashkent, Namangan branch, Uzbekistan. Today I'm going to present a study about using AI chatbot in ESP Business English. My focus is not only simple on technology, but also on the pedagogy around it, how teacher support was gradually reduced so that students could practice professional communication more independently. The study involved 91 students, business-related undergraduates from 3 universities from Fergana Valley. The problem that I am talking about is that many students in Uzbekistan, they actually possess general English knowledge, but unfortunately professional communication requires a different register. In a business context, we talk about appropriate tone, workplace vocabulary, genre conventions, and the ability to justify decisions politely. In this context, general English topics were presented in the syllabus, but students had limited guided practice with business-oriented tasks. The gap was therefore not only vocabulary or grammar, but also professional communication in the business context. It was the movement from everyday classroom English to professional workplace appropriate communication. Therefore, I think my study is very vital for the future business context of students in business-related study. The aim of the research is to evaluate whether a teacher's scaffolded face-faded BizEng AI app intervention could improve students' professional communication in business context. And as you see, research question 1 is asking whether the intervention group improved more than control group in written and spoken style using professional register performance. And as you see, research question 2 asks how the gradual withdrawal of teacher support related to students' independent and critical use of AI chatbot. However, I treat research question 2 a little bit carefully because the dashboard that I use as admin showed engagement and completion, but it wasn't a direct psychological measure of our dependence. As I mentioned before, the study was conducted at 3 state universities in Uzbekistan: Namangan State University, Fergana State University, and Andijan State Universities. 91 students in business-related context, they participated in the study. 46 of them, they were in experimental groups, and 45 of them, they were in control condition. So the English proficiency of students ranged from A2 to B2. However, the half of them were at B1 level. This context is important because AI-supported ESP research in Central Asia and higher education is still limited, especially in ESP, Business English context. The design was a 15-week pre-test, post-test quasi-experiment with a control group. Students remained in their existing classes, so this was not a randomized trial. Both groups followed the same syllabus topics and had the same teaching time. 2 80-minute lessons conducted each week. The intervention group used BizEng in AI chatbot in addition to syllabus-based instruction, while the control group received conventional teacher-led instruction. Importantly to mention, each student had the same participant number at pre-test and post-test, so the records were matched. For instance, if the student in pretest was number 1 and post-test it was number 1. The intervention was grounded in Vygotsky's zone of proximal development and in scaffolding theory by Jeremy Brunner and et al. So in this study, the teacher provided macro scaffolding, which is setting the task, modeling professional language, showing how to write prompts, and monitoring learning. While Bizeng provided micro scaffolding, such as role-play questions, immediate practice, and language feedback. A key design decision was the teacher support faded gradually over the course, but chatbot feedback remained available. The aim was not to replace the teacher. The aim was to transfer more responsibility to students while keeping AI as a practice resource. So the 15 weeks were divided into 3 phases. In the first phase, from week number 1 to 5, the teacher gave strong support to students and modeled how to use Bizeng AI chatbot. In the second phase, 6 to 10 weeks, students tried first by themselves. If a student was stuck, the teacher waited about 3 minutes before giving a small hint, then stepped back again. In weeks 11 to 15, which is third phase, students managed the interaction more independently. They created prompts, responded to chatbot questions, evaluated feedback, and revised their language. Across the phases, teacher support decreased, but Bizeng feedback continued because students really needed this language support. So a practical point is very important in this study. The official course, as I mentioned before, was General English, not a separate Business English course. It was not focused on the ESP study, unfortunately, so we didn't replace the syllabus. We did all our best to adapt it. For instance, travel and transport became corporate travel planning. University life topic became HR candidate evaluation and professional recommendations. Transport routes topic became logistics proposals. Meetings became contract negotiation. So these topics remained, but the communicative purpose of the topics became professional. And this made the intervention realistic for universities where the syllabus cannot easily be changed. And students actually really loved this because it was their first use of professional register in this business context. Here is an example. In the ordinary travel lesson, students discuss transport, costs, destination, and itineraries. In the business adaptation, they plan a 3-day business trip, choose transport, accommodation, justify costs, and stay within the budget. And everything was discussed and planned before the presentation. So this changes the language demand, and students moved from simple description to professional justification using phrases such as cost-effective, within budget, corporate discount, and estimated expenditure. So each Bizeng AI chatbot task followed a simple interaction cycle. First, the chatbot took a professional role, such as corporate travel manager, logistics consultant, or business partner. Second, it challenged the students' decisions, for example, by saying that a plan was too expensive or a delivery timeline was unrealistic. Third, the students produced an improved final response. This challenge stage was important because it pushed students to justify, negotiate, and revise their language instead of only answering easy questions. The classes were actually became very live, and students really like to involve in this kind of activities. Throughout intervention, I monitored implementation. As a Bizeng AI chatbot administrator, I could see whether students entered the platform, how often they used it, and how much time they spent there. So in class, also students showed their written exercises and speaking practices. They sent me screenshots as well. However, I want to be careful. The dashboard data showed engagement and intervention fidelity. They did not directly prove autonomy or overdependence. For this reason, the performance tests remain the main evidence of effectiveness. And another thing to mention that in the study, the student privacy was really vital. Therefore, I have no right to look at their writings in the chats. So as you see, assessment was based on 5 professional register tasks. Each task was scored from 0 to 2 by 2 experienced independent raters, and the scores were averaged to create a total score from 0 to 10. We also used a holistic judgment, which is struggling or adequate, and as you see, reliability was strong. The continuous score had very high inter-rater reliability, ICC point 0.988 at pretest and 0.954 at posttest. Cohen's kappa for the holistic judgment was 0.888 at pretest and 0.677 at posttest. So kappa measures rate agreement, not improvement. Improvement is shown by score changes and group comparisons. So on current slide, you can see these are the main results. At pretest, the two groups were similar. 3.79 for the intervention group and 3.30 for the control group. After 15 weeks, both groups improved, which is expected because both received instruction. But the intervention group improved more, reaching 6.76, while the control group reached 4.98. Within the intervention group, improvement was highly significant, p-value less than 0.001. More importantly, the post-test difference between groups was significant. P equals 0.008 with a medium effect size, Cohen's D equals 0.57. The pretest adjusted ANCOVA confirmed the results. P equals 0.009. Holistic judgment gives the same pattern in simpler terms. At pretest, about 40% of students in both groups were adequate, 41.3% in the intervention group and 40% in the control group. At post-test, the intervention group reached 84.8% adequate, while the control group reached 66.7%. So fewer students remained struggling in the intervention group, and 15.2% compared with 33.3% in the control group, which is twice more. I treat this binary result as supportive, while the continuous score remained the primary evidence. So what do these findings mean? First, they do not show that AI replaces teachers, because without teachers' guidance, this study wouldn't be possible, because the teacher designed, modeled, monitored, and gradually faded support throughout the course. Secondly, they do not show that chatbot access alone is enough. The intervention combined syllabus adaptation, prompt training, role-play pressure, feedback, and reflection. What the results do show is that a human-centered AI design gives students repeated opportunities to practice professional register and help them move towards more independent professional communication. So every effort and technology and human combined effort actually helped to do this study successful. You can see that contribution is threefold here. Contextually, the study adds evidence from Central Asian higher education, where AI-supported ESP research is limited. Pedagogically, it offers a practical three-phase model for adapting general English topics into business English tasks. So it is feasible. Theoretically, it operationalizes scaffolding and feedback fading in a human-AI partnership. So the practical message is simple. AI becomes more useful when teachers design the task environment and gradually transfers responsibility to learners. And this study can be replicable after all. Responsible claims and limitations slides gives us information that the limitations should be clearly stated. The study used intact classes, so it was quasi-experimental and not fully randomized. Dashboard data showed engagement, not a direct measure of overdependence of every student. The control group also improved, so the intervention claim is based on the higher adjusted post-test performance. Future work should add directly autonomy measures, more oral performance data, and a stronger university-level model. So these limitations define the scope of the findings. They do not remove the main result. And another vital thing to mention is that students' privacy was important. Therefore, we didn't use their chatbot activities in the study without their will. So, to conclude, teacher scaffolded AI can support business English students when the design moves from guidance to autonomy, not from teacher to machine. In the study, 91 students from 3 universities, 2 experienced raters, and 15 weeks of instruction showed a clear, moderate, and statistically significant advantage for the Bising intervention. So thank you very much for your attention. I welcome your questions.